What's Miles from Black Screen TV talking to the one and only Jasmine Cephas Jones, season 2, Blindspotting. How's it going?
I'm going good. How are you?
Good. Now that we've had some episodes in, because it takes time for a new audience to get into it, since whether or not they like it. Where are we now with Ashley?
So we just finished episode 5, and the next episode is going to be the Western.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we we've started with Ashley having so many feelings and not dealing with them and being in denial about them. And something really bad happens in episode 5. And through her verse, you finally see that she is confronting them and she's sharing that with the audience.
It's been topsy turvy throughout the season. Obviously, she's dealing. First, it was like she didn't like everybody because she's arguing with everybody for whatever reason. Then she calmed down. Obviously, you had the episode where you had to teach, her son regarding the N word and obviously, how to appropriate that. And then obviously, then there's the fun elements of the show where things can get very zany. So for you, when you're reading the scripts, it's the good thing about it is that it's not one consistent storyline throughout. Even though there's one thing we're centering on Ashley, but the whole show can go off different ways, right?
No, absolutely. Like at the end of the day, this show is a comedy. And it's a comedy, but we're dealing with a bunch of very important issues. And so, there's the whole element of Miles being in prison, but then, her son is, also going through some sort of PTSD with the prison system as well, which you'll realize in episode 6, like through the Western of what that is of him, and also growing up and dealing with the N-word and, pressure from Rainey, played by Helen Hunt, and her visits. And so, the world still turns
Mhm.
while somebody is in prison. It doesn't stop. And so the show is constantly showing how the effects of the prison system will still trickle down to all of these members of the family while the world still turns, and that's a lot of issues, and that's a lot of funny moments and a lot of sad moments as well.
Why do you think Ashley was a little bit standoffish towards Rainey wanting to visit her son?
I think at the end of the day, it's a bit of some mommy issues. Her mom passed away. Her mom is not with her. I think there's something to prove. I think Ashley she's very strong-minded, and I think there's at the end of the day, there is a little bit of guilt that she has, that this is even happening, and so, she's trying to cover it all up. She wants her son to have the best birthday ever. I think she's just trying so hard. And I think the one thing with Ashley is she does have a blind spot, and her blind spot is that she thinks that she has to do everything alone,
Mm-hmm.
by herself. And you've got, 2 moms that are very strong-minded, that have a lot of tension, and are trying to be under one roof. They shouldn't be living together. They should all be going to therapy, but they don't communicate well with each other. It's this is kind of the outcome of that.
Having said that, and now that we have a little bit more time to talk, even going back to the film and season 1, did you do your own research in terms of women that go through this on a regular basis?
I've actually been to Rikers Island, visiting a loved one, and I remember, going there and seeing all the women there. It was mostly women that would visit,
Mhm.
uh, and a lot of them were mothers. Most of them were mothers, and a lot of them brought their kids, just trying to keep their family together. Also, how hard it is when you do a visitation and you're there for hours, and then you might never see the person. So in that way, I've I've had research from my own life experience, and also, growing up like around single mothers, growing up with a lot of women that are Jill of all trades, and are, the unsung heroes. So I have a lot of experience with those strong women and what they have to do and feel like that they have to have it all together, and they magically do, and so I remember when I first got that scene in the first season where she takes the tennis racket and, she bashes the whole room. I was so proud to do that because I felt like I was speaking for so many women and, just doing it for them, being able to do this and be so angry and honest and vulnerable and being to get it out for them and for me,
So I like how, obviously, as you mentioned all of that stuff, there's the serious elements of the show, and then there's the zaniness, because you have to have it balanced since it's a comedy, So what's it like when you read this?
That's a real life.
It's real life, but at the same time, when you're reading that script, there's the moment you have to be serious, and then there's the moments where you're like, okay, here's the comedic elements of it. What's it like when you're going through the table read and you're working out those scenes? Does it take a few takes? You're obviously a pro at it, season 2, and the cast has known each other, or is it you have to make it work to make the punchline work?
Everybody is so good at what they do on the show. We didn't get the chance in the first season to all get together. It was like at the height of the pandemic when we shot this. And so everybody had to do their own research and to really establish these characters very, very early on. And, everybody's so good at what they do is like, we all kind of came together and we were just allowed to play. And we were given that, we were given that support. We were given that emotional support to do that. So when we do these table reads, or it's usually on a Zoom and we all get together, we laugh through it. We get to all read it together. It sounds amazing when everybody can read their part and you get to hear it for the first time, like come to life of how it's supposed to be read. And then you kind of come to set and you play, you do your research, you do your homework. And a lot of it is almost free falling, but you have to on this type of show. Like that's what it requires from you. You kind of have to really let go and be able to kind of like fall on your face, and try things, this is the kind of space, the creative space where you're allowed to have opinions and you're allowed to experiment with your character. So we all really get to do that, which brings a lot of comfortability in performance, and which also gives authentic performances as well.
Before I let you go, is Helen ready to come to New York and do some poetry?
I watch Helen do anything any day, honestly. If Helen wants to go to New York and do some poetry, I am there. I will sit in the front row.
We all will. Where do we see you next outside of the show?
I just did an Ava DuVernay film. Yes. So that will be probably the next thing that you will see me in. And my album will come out this year.
I feel like you have an album out almost every year, which is good, right? Which is good. We need more how many tracks?
13.
13 is good. 13 is the average, which is what, because we don't want to see. I still play the track, the album from the movie with why am I going blank all of a sudden? The Cyrano. I don't think they had an album. Actually, if you go on YouTube, you can download just the audio of it, which just the
I didn't even know that.
Yes, I have it on my phone. You're the first track.
Oh, amazing! I gotta listen to that. So, wow, you learn something new every day.
You learn something new every day. So it's always good seeing you. I don't know when I'll see you next, but you're always traveling here and there. I'm gonna start calling you Jasmine San Diego.
That is funny.
So I'll see you when I see you, and I know you gotta go, so we'll talk down the road.
Oh, thank you so much. Always great to talk to you.
See ya.